Live from the Philippine Embassy, Washington, D.C. This is Public Affairs. I'm joined by Ambassador Jose Cuisia. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Public Affairs.
My pleasure, and it's good to see you here in the embassy. How are we?
There's so much information I would like to ask, and I know that you'll be able to provide for our viewers around the world. Well, first and foremost, what is your most important responsibility as ambassador to the United States and your areas of jurisdiction? How big is the Filipino population in the United States and its composition? Okay,
here in the U.S., of course, my responsibility as Philippine ambassador to the United States, I pursue the objectives of our foreign policy, which are mainly three objectives. This is the promotion of economic diplomacy, meaning promoting trade, investments, and tourism. Two, enhancing our national security by obtaining military and security assistance from the United States of America. And third is the protection of our nationals, the Filipinos and Filipino Americans, who are, of course, under our jurisdiction. So those are our three main responsibilities in Washington, D.C. Now, in terms of how many Filipinos are officially under the recent census done by the U.S., there's 2.55 million Filipinos, but if you include mixed Filipino and other nationalities, for example, Filipino Thai or Filipino Indonesian or Filipino Malaysian, and in other words, if they have different types of not just Filipino, and let's say they've naturalized Americans, that would could go up to about 3.4 million Filipinos, Filipino Americans, and other mixed nationalities. No? Now, your third question is how
its composition. Yes.
Of course, the jurisdiction is, as ambassador, it's the entire United States, but it also includes, my responsibility includes the U.S. Virgin Islands, Grenada, and I think Puerto Rico, yeah. So those are the, I guess, the countries and states that are under my jurisdiction.
Through you, Mr. Ambassador, we'd like to extend our deepest condolences and sympathies to the thousands of Filipino families that were affected by the recent calamity in the Philippines. We understand that the world, including the United States and the European Union and hundreds of Filipino communities, have warmly responded to the appeal from the Philippine government. May we know the update on the Typhoon Calamity Fund?
Well, we're still getting information from the consulates. These are not complete, but based on what we have obtained so far, there's more than $40,000 that have been raised in cash. But there are also donations in kind, like water, biscuits, and other ready-to-eat food that has been donated by different organizations. As I said, the fundraising continues. There are benefit concerts that are being scheduled towards the end of this month, and more fundraising efforts are being exerted all around the U.S. By different organizations. So we're still trying to get the information from all our consulates. We have 8 consulates in the U.S., as you are aware, and we have 4 honorary consulates. So we don't have all the reports yet. No?
In the name of our honorable and respected veterans, World War II, I'd like to ask this question. I know that the U.S. government has recognized the efforts and the bravery of our World War II veterans, and thousands of them have received benefits. However, there are still thousands awaiting for more benefits, including the survivors of World War II veterans. Any positive developments on this?
Well, yes, we have actually met with the U.S. Army, with the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, to, in fact, plead for the 3,600 veterans who were denied. More than 18,000 veterans have already received their benefits, and what has been paid is over $200 million already. But there are these 3,600 who were denied, and we're trying to see how we can help them. And in fact, we have been able to help some because there were some administrative errors, particularly transposition of names, or in the one case, for example, he used his American name instead of John, and actually in the list he was listed as one and not as John. So his application was turned down, but when we found that out, we were able to get a reconsideration, and his application was eventually approved. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help these veterans to ensure those that are really qualified are not deprived of their benefits because of administrative errors. We've been talking to the U.S. government to see how much more they can help these veterans. So.
And speaking of the issue of economic development in the Philippines, how will the Save Our Textile Industry Act help the economic situation in the Philippines, and what is the present situation?
Well, if we can get it passed, it will have a tremendous impact on the apparel industry because it will create a lot of jobs, hundreds of thousands of jobs. No? And this is why we're very eager to get this passed in the U.S. Congress. We now have 19 firm sponsors, and we hope to get 3 more in the House of Representatives. We have 4 from the Senate, led especially by our champion, Senator Daniel Inouye, who's been very, very supportive of the Philippines. No? He was also the author of that bill granting the benefits to the veterans. He was one of the principal authors. In the House, it is Congressman Jim McDermott, and he's also trying to push this bill, which we believe will have a very good impact on the apparel industry and the U.S. textile industry. So it is a win-win type of legislation, and we are hopeful that we can get it passed this year because the 3 free trade agreements benefiting South Korea, Colombia, and Panama have already been passed. So we hope that the SAVE Act will also be taken up with a larger trade bill that's being packaged in Congress. No?
Finally, as a magna cum laude graduate from the La Salle University, an outstanding graduate from the College of Business in Wharton, what particular solid experience do you have in academic preparation and your business would you bring to be able to help the Philippines as ambassador to the United States? And what is your vision for the Philippines and the Filipino people during your tenure?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, one of our major objectives is to promote economic diplomacy, meaning trade and investments and tourism. And because of my experience in the private sector, I have been in the private sector in the Philippines for over 40 years, I can use that business knowledge to promote trade and investments here in the United States among the American investors and as well as Filipino Americans to get them to invest in their country. You know? So that certainly is going to be an ability or that I will tap to be able to achieve our objective of promoting economic diplomacy.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Jose Cuisia, for joining us today, and congratulations for the good work that you do for the Philippines and the Filipino people, and more power to you. This is Awi Berry signing off for now. Thank you so much for watching. To all the viewers around the world, may God bless you.